do the game report. Thanksgiving week edition of the report. Of course, with the man, Kyle F. and Nash. Kyle, what is good, man?
Hey, let me be among the first to wish you a happy Thanksgiving, Ernest EJ Christian.
My favorite holiday of the year.
Take
Hell yeah.
that, Julius.
That's right. A lot to talk about today. I almost I remember telling you like a couple days ago, like, I think I might take a week off from doing the report. Then I realized this week
that you were a dirty liar, and that
then I was like, no, but only that. But I'm like, why would I do that with all these things we got to talk about going into this week in the NFL and in college?
It's the reason where weeks ahead, even before I was sure I would be attending the defending champion Denver Nuggets coming to town to play the Orlando Magic tomorrow night, Wednesday night, the 22nd. Bing!
The champs.
Sports. Even before I knew all of that was going to happen, I set up Matt Murschel ahead of time to come in this week to talk college football on the Student of the Game podcast. Bing! So understand, I get the gravity of this week. Hashtag cheap plugs.
Yeah, but before we get to this week, because we'll have a lot to talk about this week, let's put a bow on week 11 in the NFL with the game. What people, what many, including myself, said is the game of the year, and it played out to be the way that the game played out last night. Eagles Chiefs last night. Well, defensive battle. Come on, these two teams.
Listen. So for clarity, I'm not saying that it wasn't an awesome football game, but like another game decided by the Chiefs and drops. Mm-hmm. Nobody wants to see that. I would have liked to see the catch be made and then Jalen Hurts have the opportunity with a minute 40 to answer back. Yeah, that would have been quality football.
Absolutely.
But
no, that's the vibe I have here with this game. Coming out of this game is that I feel like. Look, personal feelings of some of the Eagles, obviously. I feel like the Chiefs lost this game instead of the Eagles winning it. Now, granted, I don't want to knock the Eagles here, too, because remember, all you can do is take advantage of the opportunity you have. And they did that. The Chiefs did have a 10-point lead.
Success intersection between luck and opportunity.
Opportunity, right. And the Chiefs had opportunities to actually put the game away, actually. The Travis Kelce fumble in the red zone in the third quarter or the early fourth quarter was probably the swing of that game because Kelce scored a touchdown. That we have a Chiefs win here, most likely.
Are you trying to say that the momentum changed swiftly?
Oh my God! Wow, you never lack. You never have a lack for these things. You are a witty one, Mr. Nash.
The term #talent comes to mind.
Apparently, this is why I bring you on here. I probably should be paying you for these appearances on this podcast, but hey,
somebody should be more than other people that are getting paid. But let's not have that conversation right now.
Yeah, So my takeaway is this from this game, and you're probably going to be mad at me already for saying this, but I don't care. We've known each other 10 years, and
must win.
When be the first time I said something that's crazy to you in your eyes, and you feel like crazy about it? I don't care about the stats. I don't care about how all that. I just know that Jalen Hurts, when it was time to make plays, that dude came through when he needed to come through. Again, opportunities came out, and
how is that a bad take?
Well,
how is that a bad take, Ernest Christian?
Well, I'm not done to take it. The take is coming now.
Oh snap!
The MVP conversation. he is now entered the MVP conversation officially after last night. My opinion. Your thoughts?
No, he's lesser a candidate than C.J. Stroud. I mean,
No. Agreed. Yes, agree with you on that.
Like A.J. Brown is getting MVP talks ahead of him. Like
not the last night though.
One game does not an MVP.
No, agreed.
Campaign make. If you want to examine it, fine. Is he in your top 5?
Jalen Hurts?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's appropriate that with, I could go with Colin Cowherd, but in this case, I'm going to go Stephen A. Smith because you're going to have a Stephen A. Smith clip coming up soon. More on that later. But you're going to have a Stephen A. Smith clip. So I think it's appropriate for me in response to you saying that to say, stay off the weed. Stop it. You're just complete and total disrespect for the award and such that it is. Granted, I will give you credit. You're trying to look beyond the stats, and that's a good thing. At this point, I'm going to maintain that Josh Allen is even a better MVP candidate. Myles Garrett is a better MVP candidate than Jalen Hurts. By the way, further proof you're not actually a Giants fan, but this also impacts your Cowboys fanhood too.
Oh God, here we go. Your ridiculous.
Oh
your
wait, you're
ridiculous
a
takes.
Chiefs fan too. Yeah, because you're a Chiefs fan and Jalen did good against your team, you're stoked up. That's it. I found the
You know what bothers me about this game last night though.
other than your Chiefs losing.
Yeah, that hurt me here and in diabetes too.
Alma diabetes.
So the talk now coming in this game is the Chiefs offense in trouble? What do they need to do now? How about just catch the fucking ball? And you're good.
Leading the
Literally,
league.
hold balls, you winning game. And Pat Mahomes for the record, place balls. the Scantlin, the Van Scantlin touchdown, placed it right there. The 4th and 25, placed it right there for first down.
Yep.
He did his job, buddy. Ain't Pat Mahomes' fault. Pat Mahomes did his job, buddy.
What Ron Jeremy and Patrick LaVon Mahomes II have in common is they place the balls right every time to make sure they can score. Unfortunately, that did not happen here.
Yeah. But I feel like, dude, watching this game last night, though, and maybe you feel the same way as I do, if these two teams played 10 times, I feel like each one would win 5 games. No. I feel like there's no separation in these two teams. Do you feel there's a better team than the other?
I feel like the point differential between the games will average beneath a touchdown, but I regularly see Patrick LaVon Mahomes II making the plays that he does to potentially win the game, except the other side of the equation, the receiver in this case, handles business more often than not.
So you say KC slight advantage still.
We'll call it 7-3, but it's the same handicap you used to give your guy Thomas Edward Patrick Beaver Brady, right? With Patrick LaVon Mahomes II, no lead is safe, no game conclusion is safe, just like we saw in the Super Bowl this past year. That was a game that KC, for all intents and purposes, lost. Jalen Hurts had the NFL MVP, or excuse me, Super Bowl MVP stat line, throwing for over 300 yards.
Yeah.
And with a bad angle, the 29-yard run on the back of Creed Humphrey, by the way, at center for the KC, became reality.
Okay, that's a good take. I mean, I don't disagree with that either.
It's definitely Eagles, by the way, just so we're clear. They're still
right.
football team.
Absolutely. I mean, hell, they were in the Super Bowl last year. But yeah, big win for the Eagles here. With that now, and we'll talk about the playoff picture in a second. Today's about coaching, though. I want to touch about coaching. We haven't touched on coaching in a little while on this pod. About 2 months.
I'm glad you're brave enough to talk about coaching after you've been disproven so handily about Brian Daboll.
We're still doing that. What's doing that?
Absolutely, Chief.
You know what? And this is the shit why I can't stand Brian Daboll this year. Is that I vouched for you last year. I know I'm correct on what happened last year, and then all you do this year is let me down in a big way. And I gotta have clowns like you and Matthew Muleisen and Big Jim James Neese and all these idiots on X or Twitter or the hell they call it now. Threads.
Okay.
So sick of you guys, man. You always pick on me.
An idiot. I was right, but I'm a clown and idiot. Cool. You do. By the way, this clown / idiot had.
Do I seem mad?
Your guy Saquon Barkley is the student of the game MVP. But we want to talk about that. This clown or idiot actually said everything right, including supporting your alleged team by giving Saquon his proper credit.
As my thing falls down, the flag is falling apart now. As my son here,
hit a bump.
Thanks, buddy.
Fell.
I want it up there.
Oh gosh.
No, too late. Leave it alone. It's okay. Leave it alone.
Shouts to Logan Christian.
Logan Christian, come here, destroy my studio.
Was he the perp you were chasing?
Yeah.
This is how devoted
he's on timeout.
Not only
as he wears his giant shirt too.
Not only does he take abuse from
Show your shirt.
Uh-oh.
Don't take it off.
Go
on the camera, dude.
Wow. That's a very tolerant parent as a Cowboy fan that you let him wear a Giants shirt.
You're the worst, dude. You like the Giants too? Yeah. There we go. Cool. There you go. No problem. He's born here. He's born here, and plus, he's
stop backpedaling. You lose. Good day, sir.
And he's a mama's boy too. To be fair, he's a mama's boy too. So come on now. Anyway,
I can't hear you over the sound of the Gene Wilder victory.
I hate you right now. How mad I am about the Daboll thing for real though. Well, speaking of coaching though, I have 10 guys. I want to rank. Panic meter. We did this I think week 3, week 4.
Oh, panic meter. Right.
We're back here now, going to week 12 now. I think it's time
and rightly so. Right.
This is potentially going to be one of the biggest, possibly biggest Black Mondays / offseason. Possibly. I'm not saying. We shall see.
I feel like we say that every year, and yet regularly we get the regular number
True.
of 6 or so.
And that's very, yeah. Yeah.
We already have one out the door, too. Let's not forget that.
Yes, he deserved it.
Yes.
Josh McDaniels.
The S is for sucks. Good job.
Right.
Way to set me up. Well done, EJ Christian.
Let's go with the first guy that allegedly, according to Jay Glazer, has the hottest seat probably in the whole of the land, and that's Frank Reich in Carolina. What'd you put at 1 to 10? Pant leader.
It's probably 8, but I don't think his seat should be the hottest.
Mm-hmm. Why?
Because he's not Brandon Staley. More on that later. No, honestly, I don't think, Bryce Young is to blame. I think this team needs more time to build.
Yeah.
And I mean, this is Frank Wright's opening?
Very first year in Carolina. It can't be.
I'm going to drop it to 7 because on the strength of the fact it's his first year. I'll throw that modifier.
What it should be is a 2 or 3. What it is based on the optics and a owner that is not very patient and temper, it's 8.5 for me.
I mean, he kept Rivera around forever, but that's a whole other conversation.
Was he there at Rivera? Or did you fire Rivera?
He may have fired Rivera, but I've told you many times on this.
I thought he took over. I thought he took over for Jerry Richardson. After Rivera was gone, I thought Richardson. It doesn't matter.
I'm talking about ownership. I'm talking about
right. That's what I'm saying.
Maybe I don't have the timeline right.
Right.
So
right.
That could be a factor too.
But it should be a 2 or 3. I always say coaches should get these 2-3 years before they get the axe. But
I'm willing to raise it up to a 5 if you think a lot of his stuff is conduct unbecoming. But you don't bring in an undersized quarterback and then, like the G. If anybody should swing, it's the GM for that trade and all of that. But that's, I mean, especially after what I heard the punishment should be to the 49ers office for the whole Trey Lance situation. But nobody wants to talk about that.
No one doesn't know that, apparently. So, all right, next guy here on the list. Speaking of Ron Rivera, there you go. Ron Rivera in Washington.
An absolute 9. Not only does the on-the-field product look awful, Sam Howell, ACC quarterbacks, am I right? But there's the political and optics revitalization with the new ownership that I think is a factor too. I believe Rivera's contract goes up. I don't think he's getting fired, but he's sure not getting brought back. Right. Yeah. So Bieniemy's in prime position to take over. I think that's something in a world. One of two things are true. I'll go with the conventional smart wisdom. If you're really trying to flex that you have the team that used to be alleged to have been named after a slur, and I know there's some controversy there whether people like it or not. I mean, those are the facts of the case. There's controversy, right? If you want to put being named as a slur in the rear view, what better way to do it than to bring in a guy like Eric Bieniemy, who has been looking for a head coaching job as a minority candidate to be brought in and hired as a head coach for the first time under a minority owner a minority owner, if you will, in Magic Johnson, right?
Yeah.
But here's the conspiracy theory. Mm-hmm. Let's say they opt to, allegedly there are polls out there, and you know how reliable polls can or can't be. Allegedly,
I do love them though.
Well, enough of your silly politics and my actual data wisdom knowing how they're getting manipulated. And that's not an attack on you. That's more me calling out media outlets.
Of course, yeah, of course, yeah.
But polls allege that the return of the name Redskins is the favorite amongst the fans. If you're going to try to do that, what better way to balance it out than to give Eric Bieniemy his first job, having minority ownership in your building?
I will say this though, and I'm not even like saying that they should go back to this, but this is how you sell that.
That's what I'm saying. This is exactly
not only with Bieniemy, but who is while he's a minority owner, who is the face of that ownership group right now?
Yeah, I mean it's Magic Johnson. That's
there
the popular. Yeah, that's exactly. Yeah,
that's how you sell it.
Saying the same precise thing. 100%.
That's how you sell it. That being said,
that's how you balance it. Sell it, whatever.
Right. That being said, Kyle, I'm going 10. I already said before the year started that he was going to be gone anyway because Eric Bieniemy is literally the assistant head coach of that team, and the optics were when he got hired that he would be the guy moving forward. And now that Daniel Snyder is gone, this is the one franchise I think in the NFL that is literally ripe for a complete overhaul because of the new ownership group, because of everything else. To get rid of the stench of
Ever we
Daniel
seen that
Snyder,
evidence? Montez Sweat, Bryce Young, both out the door.
yes,
Or not
correct.
Bryce Young, Chase Young. Beg your
Chase
pardon.
Young, right, who went to your team, of course. But
Still gonna be sending my my fellow red tail commander
Commanders,
friends Christmas cards this year for that ish, by the way. Woo.
No, but seriously, it's a 10 for me because there's no surprises outside of a playoff berth. I never saw him holding a job. He can go 8-9 this year, or even close to 9-8, and he's still gone because unless you're in the playoffs or beyond, there's really there's a thirst for fresh, and Rivera is no longer
fresh. That sounds like a Subway logo. I like it.
Eat fresh. All right, you know what? I'll throw his name in for funsies here, but Brian Daboll, the Giants.
6 at least. Like,
ooh, really?
You gotta have the conversation. You listen, in that large media market, you know there's a lack of patience, buddy.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, you're not wrong. You're not wrong about it at all. I'll go 3 but I will say I can see rising to 6 or 7 if they fall apart the rest of the year. Now they did win a game.
That doesn't count.
I hate this team so much, dude.
That doesn't count.
I told you.
Sam Howell doesn't count.
Again, I told you and everybody else last week that I am in for a tank. Okay, I know players don't come to work to tank, but I'm in for the tank, and they can't do that properly. But if the Giants can somehow, some way, find a way to look respectable at the end of the year, he's gonna be fine. Because last year he did enough in his first year to alleviate any pressure. Now the third year, I will say as much though, regardless of what he's back or not this next year, which I think he will be, he'll seem to be at the very least warm.
So, are you illing for Williams? Are you trying to the big fix for Penix? Or let's see, what's another one? Lose all day for Drake May.
I want Caleb, dude. I don't know how you feel about
Illing for Williams is the selection.
I still like Caleb, man. I mean, I know how we feel about that. Maybe we'll do a podcast next week about the quarterbacks and how we feel about the draft, whatever going forward. But I'm still a Caleb Williams guy. I feel like his upside is higher than anybody else's there of those quarterbacks. His upside.
Yeah, I mean the natural talent.
Yeah. There's other optics there that will worry some, but like I said, we'll worry about that later. All right, how about this guy, Matt Eberflus in Chicago?
There's your 10, buddy. There's your 10. In a world where you already see people talking about reboot, yeah, this kid is a fat kid in dodgeball. He is out. I have a little bit of pause for Ron Rivera. And I say that mostly because it's not a firing, By the way, this is me talking about the likelihood versus what I actually feel. I feel Rivera should be a 10, for example. I'm going to give it a 9 just because physics, right? For me, Eberflus, not only do I feel it's a 10, it looks like a 10 for me that this dude's done.
Yeah. And I think this is the other franchise that feels like is ripe for another rebuild, which again, we've been doing this for what? Every 3 years do they do?
This is what happens when you miss at quarterback. It's time.
Yeah. I'm going 9. Probably go higher than that, but no, 9. Because I'm wondering if the reason I'm going 9 for one reason. This ownership group is cheap enough to say, you know what, we're paying this guy for 3-4 years. Let's get another year just because they're pretty cheap. The McCaskill's pretty freaking cheap. So that's that. This is bad as the Spanos family. All right. How about this guy? Your boy, Matt LaFleur in Green Bay.
7. I think he's going to get a little bit of slack for relative success. I know the popular thing is you were famous because of Aaron Charlotte Rodgers. Also, the way that they were gutted with the departure of Rodgers with certain weapons and things like that, and Devontae Adams went away, and all of it. I feel like he's going to get 1 year of goodwill before he gets kicked down the stairs. It's not like they're going to have a high enough draft pick to really do anything in the draft, but it's not like the Packers do a lot in the draft anyway. Yeah. So, yeah. I think he has 1 more year to do something and take back the division from the surging Lions, who next year, if our predictions hold true, will have a much harder schedule as a first place team.
Well, everything it said there's why I went with 4, because I think he will get the 1 year reprieve post Aaron Rodgers. There was also not no one knew what to expect this year with Green Bay either. You know, if they started 4-6, no one's surprised. If they started 6-4, no one's surprised. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So it's one of those things like, okay, how it looks on paper, how it
Your
looks on the
number is
field.
good, right? Your number
Right.
is good as far as chances of him getting fired next year. The way I call it, the reason why I call it like a 6 or 7 is it's going to be hot heading into the season.
That I agree with.
Yeah, and it's that the carriage of that heat that I want to make sure. But by the way, if on Black Monday you saw the headline that he got fired, you might be surprised, but you understand it too. So
Yeah,
that's,
absolutely.
that's,
Absolutely. That's why it's that high. But he'll have one of the more seats in the league next year. Now, if this team craters the rest of the year, because they're technically still in the playoff race, technically, even though there's a 2-game gap between 7 and 8
details.
in the NFC, right? I do see maybe they speed the process and say, you know what, let's start fresh, new quarterback, new coach, a whole nine. So
Yeah.
4. All right. How about this one guy? Mike Rabel, Tennessee.
It's higher than it should be. And I actually talked to Ron Davenport about this after the game, in the press box for a little bit. He doesn't personally right now see him going, but his words were that this team is the most frustrated it's been in his tenure.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is another good 6 or 7.
Ooh, really?
I don't think he gets fired this year, but I'm not prepared to rule it out either, especially in a world where the press amongst the media on a national level in the lamestream is starting to basically make being a defensive-minded head coach a slur against your game, kind of like game manager was at one point, and to some extent still is for quarterbacks.
So you and I went completely opposite. I thought you would go lower than that, but I went -4 because I
No,
don't see it right now. I think they're gonna.
I might have thought the same, but like I said, I talked to Teron.
You have a source, a good friend of ours. Yeah. Here's my logic on that though. I think they're gonna allow him to rebuild.
I hope so.
Because this is not a very good team. This is a team devoid of talent, and then the best talent to have in the team, the GM who they fired, rightfully so, I think last year. You don't get rid of AJ Brown for nothing,
and rightly so. Yes,
that wasn't a Vrabel problem. That was a GM problem.
Certainly.
Right. So I think because of the lack of talent, and the guys that are still talented on this team are either A, aging, or B, just not good enough anymore. AKA Ryan Tannehill. I think is one of the things where like, okay, let's start fresh. We like this coach. He's a really good coach. He's a good voice. Let's see if we can do something, a whole new program here on the same voice. If that doesn't work, then we have a conversation about him getting fired.
Well, yeah, and he had been asked about the possibility of him losing the locker room and all that, and Teron had said he would make that inquiry during press outings this week. So if you check out whatever Teron Davenport's doing for ESPN covering the Tennessee Titans, we'll see if there's an answer to what Vrabel's going to do, to make sure he doesn't lose the locker room. If he's able to keep the locker room throughout the end of this year, I think he'll give himself enough evidence to keep it, and it's a matter of pulling that off, because the real scuttlebutt there in that locker room in Tennessee is that he might be losing them. But that being said, I mean, Will Levis came out and looked like a star, and people, I think, got a little too hyped. I'm like, okay, that's cute. You threw a bunch of passes on, I believe it was the fraud cons, but yeah, at the end of the day, he's not ready yet to be a real, and again, quoting my good friend Teron Davenport, he sees that he's still trying to do too much. He's trying to do extra things as a young quarterback would do. But I think his words were, if God made a quarterback, he would look like Will Levis.
And for record, I still think Vrabel is probably still the time best coach in football. I still think so.
10 best. Let's save that for another pod. I'm not prepared because that'll take a minute for us to hash that through.
Right. I mean, I certainly the product on the field this year has not really shown that, but that again, the talent gap, the team is bad.
No, listen, he and Marvin Lewis, I think, have a commonality. Former Bengals coach, like people crapped on him.
Yeah.
He never won a playoff game. He got eliminated in the first one. They made the playoffs.
Yeah,
because he was there, right alongside Mike.
Arguably the best stretch of football.
Harbaugh.
Yeah, arguably the best stretch of history of the franchise. Arguably, in terms of consistent. No, in terms of like getting to the playoffs every year after year.
No. Perennial. No one has had an impact the way he did when he was there. Like, that's not arguable.
Yeah, there you go. All right, this should be an interesting name here. How about Sean McDermott in Buffalo?
8. 8.
Oh,
Somebody's got to go.
you're aggressive. You're really aggressive today in these scores. I like it.
Well, I mean, I've seen some of the reaction to some of the movement since you acted last time. Now, I'll grant the reason why it's not higher is because it's very interesting. You fire the OC. The world claims that you're using him as a scapegoat, and then you come out and you bomb the Jets, who are a great defense. As aggressive as you're calling it 8, what I'm trying to tell you is if they continue to look that prolific on offense to close the season, that's going to become like a 4 real fast.
Yeah. If you had asked me this after last week, Monday's loss to Denver, I would have said like 6 or 7. I went 5 because the Jets game.
That's a fine number.
Calmed it down. Now this stretch going forward is going to say a lot. This stretch is going to say put his number as high as an 8 or 9 or as low as a 2 or 3, depending on how they do well this last stretch of the year.
I get it's a week-to-week league, but I don't want to shake it off that quickly. Because here's the one thing we can guarantee is that he's not going to get fired before the end of the year. Okay.
Agreed. No question. Yeah.
So at the end of the year, if they still look like how they look and they won the must-win game as we called it, not to make you look silly, just because we both said must win as much as you overuse
knowing that what time of year where that applies now.
Yeah. Well, it's even less the time of year and more with the Browns. It's accelerated because the difficulty of the schedule. We've been over that.
Right.
Yeah. So I think you can keep it low, and you have, but I think we have 3 points difference between the two of us because there's just been so much volatility with that team and the firing of Ken Dorsey, the OC, and all that. There's still way too much dust that has to settle, and that's why you and I can be both look completely smart having such different scores.
I'll say as much. He makes the playoffs, it lowers to a 3 or 4. He misses the playoffs, it goes up a little bit.
Yeah. Well, and that's why I'm that high. Is it's trending a little too much like he's about to miss.
Right. And he misses the playoffs. If he's still the coach next year, he's the hottest seed in the league, probably, next year.
Maybe.
Maybe top 2 or 3.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Staying in this division and their opponents this past weekend, Robert Saleh with the Jets.
5. This dude has excuses and goodwill built up behind him. He was handed a situation with a bad O-line, a quarterback that was an injury risk, or at least us wise people like the Student of the Game on the Student of the Game podcast, called out Aaron Rodgers was an injury risk. Now, I didn't say the 4th damn snap into the season, but I did say injury risk there with that bad O-line and Zach Wilson, who was a miss, and Tim Boyle. Who the hell brought this guy in? A UConn quarterback who's just awful. I mean, I think I've actually covered him at some point with the Black and Gold back when they were still in the American. Yeah, he's trash. But still, a 3rd string quarterback there, and just without any of those options offensively. By the way, the part of the ball where Robert Saleh's good is among the top in the league.
Defense.
Bingo. So
I went 3 for that reason you said earlier, though, about the goodwill. I do think the 5 makes sense for you because of the fact that the longer you kept Zach Wilson on the field, that number went up because they should have pulled Zach Wilson like literally 4 weeks ago, if not even earlier.
For who?
It wasn't like Zach Wilson all of a sudden became bad last couple of weeks. We knew.
But I'm telling you, who else is in the cupboard? I brought up Tim Boyle.
Well, who else is in the cupboard? They could have brought in a Carson Wentz. They could have brought in some other guy.
Okay, so your answer was a free agent. That's the thing. I understand that Josh Dobbs, for example, was on the table, and Carson Wentz is a big no. I would
right. But the thing was, the season was early enough. I mean, literally early enough because it was week 1 when Aaron Rodgers got hurt that you can at least have that safeguard in there for you.
Maybe, but with free agents like that, it's about fit and scheme as well. And just with that, I can't necessarily fault a team for not bringing somebody in. That's a fan criticism rather than an analyst one. And I haven't done enough research as an analyst to tell you if any of these quarterback candidates are actual fits.
Right. Okay. How about this one? My favorite coach in the league, Brandon Staley.
He should be a 10, shouldn't he? At this point, you fired an offensive coordinator last year. Your offensive coordinator is actually improving, depending on what metric you're talking about, where he has more points this year than last.
Yeah.
Right. And another situation where your quarterback Justin Herbert's going to get criticism for this game, even though he had the same problem that Patrick LaVon Mahomes II did, and because it wasn't on Monday night, and he's not a reigning MVP, not reigning. Oh yeah, reigning. He's the reigning MVP, and not a reigning MVP, and a guy who it's cool to criticize as if he was Tony Romo, Andrew Luck, or Peyton Manning as a Colt.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna speak. Oh, Justin Herbert missed that. No, he didn't. Hit the dude in the damn hands.
Literally.
Meanwhile, your defense has been sucking more than a vacuum cleaner all year. And
the thing he's known for too is defense.
Exactly, you beat me there. And you're allegedly a defensive-minded coach.
So
will fire him.
So I have an actual meter sitting right here to the corner of here on this podcast. You can't really see it. It broke. The meter broke.
That's why they can't see it. It's broken.
It's at 46. It's 46. You shouldn't fire a year ago. Should have fired 2 years ago.
Well, yeah, you were on that train last year.
The meter's been broken. Brandon Staley. There you go. Meter's broken. So yeah, I mean, come on now. Anyway, and finally, we got to talk about it again. I know we brought it up before weeks ago. We got to talk about it again. It's hoodie time. Bill Belichick in New England.
If I said 8 or 9 last time, I'm going to go there now.
You might have been a 5 or 6 or 4.
If I didn't, I'm going there now. They just look that much worse.
Mm-hmm.
And with Belichick's personality being what that it is, you know. By the way, how garbage a game is it that your Patriots are going to play the Giants next week?
Tank Bowl.
Those two playing each other. You know who really loses? America. Yeah.
And go figure, both teams has America's colors too, red, white, and blue.
How patriotic indeed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I expect that game to look like the morale during an election.
It's funny. I was going to say that game, those two teams, kind of exemplifies our discourse right now in this country.
No, I think we all agree that it's going to suck. Yeah.
No, but trash on trash on trash, man. I went a 6 here because the only reason I went that low was because I'm not sure if. I mean, discussed it last time we brought up his name 2 months ago about if Kraft says pull your GM card, he agrees to that, then fine.
He won't.
Good. But well, we don't think he will. But if he says agrees to it, then obviously he'll still have a coaching job next year.
Hey,
I would assume.
If he does, I'm happy to talk about how wrong my meter was and have it recalibrated. In the meantime, it ain't happening. I ain't buying.
I don't think it'll happen either. And because of that, if I was guaranteed to know that wasn't the case going to happen, I would have gone to 8 or 9 also myself. And plus, to be honest with you, like we've been, I'll give some past fans some credit that's come on the show through the years. Even before Brady left, they were whispers about him. Some of the fans getting signed to Belichick anyway.
No,
I remember my good friend.
They're just wrong. No.
Okay,
let's be clear. Boston fans are among the most ignorant.
Not saying it was right. No, saying it was the right place to be, but they were getting tired of him because. Okay, so I'm gonna give you an example. Our own Boston Jack on this podcast. Back in 2018, when they lost the Eagles,
that adds to your credibility. I'm just saying.
No, listen. This is what he said. He came on the show after the Super Bowl when they lost to the Eagles in 2017, whatever it was, 2018, and said that he was pissed off at the way he bungled the Malcolm Butler situation by not playing him that game. There are some Pats fans who had some issues with him.
You were in full Gilmore Girl mode. Nobody heard that.
You didn't hear what I said?
What situation? I remember the situation.
You remember when Belichick benched Malcolm Butler?
You mean the Stephon Gilmore situation?
No, Malcolm Butler.
Sorry, I got mixed up.
Malcolm Butler when he got benched at Super Bowl.
Well,
for no explanation, nothing. Just bench him. And there's some Pats fans I know personally that has been bitter with Belichick ever since. And granted, this is after.
You think Malcolm Butler made the difference? Please.
I'm not. No. My larger point is there's been some fans already I've spoken to that have already been disgruntled with him even before Brady left the building.
Okay.
And then you add these last couple of years on top of that. So it's not that the Belichick thing is
Well,
also
you're
brand new.
speaking to my point about the ignorant Boston fan. Then that's why
No,
it's
no,
the ignorance of the Boston fan.
for the record, I disagree with them on that.
Anyway.
Even back then, I'm just talking about the rhetoric of some fans in that base. That's all.
Oh, okay.
That's what I'm saying.
You finally got me there, I think. Okay, yeah, we're saying it in a different way. You're just stopping to bring up Boston Jack so I could talk more trash on one of your guests that aren't me. Cool.
All right, let's get to some positive coaching. I want to rank also. We're talking about coaching on this pod today. I want to rank right now so far the top 5 best coaching performances through 11 weeks, and we're gonna go power ranking style, 5-1.
Yeah.
And there's some really good coaching jobs. You know, this coach of the year race, I think, is kind of wide open. Kind of. I say kind of because there are a couple of names here that there's probably a tier.
There's a number of candidates that still have a shot. I 100% agree.
Yeah, that may not even be mentioned here yet, but you got time to turn it around. So 5-1. Who is your 5th best coaching performance thus far through 11 weeks?
We got to give Nick Sirianni some love, don't we?
Oh, I'm there with you also. Number 5.
Yeah, one of the hardest things to do in any league is to perform at a high level. The other is to do it consistently, and this guy needs a little credit for that. A lot of people doubted that the Eagles would survive the hangover to be what it is they were, and if beating the Chiefs isn't another rung on that ladder towards, hey, give me respect. I know I beat up on the NFC, but I got tested by the defending champs, and I still did the thing. That needs to earn some credit. Granted, it was another situation where luck and opportunity led to success. You're 100% right. But I don't think Andy Reid looks forward to coaching against Nick Sirianni. I'll say that.
No, I went with Sirianni as well, too, at number 5. And remember, he lost a chunk of his staff this year.
He lost a chunk of his staff. He had to retool his defense. There's a lot of movement there.
Yeah, and yeah, the moments this year where they didn't look pretty, but they're still 9-1 while figuring it out. That's amazing to me. They didn't fall off the wagon, unlike Brandon Daboll. Anyway. Yeah, hey. Is that what I said? Pissing me off.
Wow.
Number 4 for you, Kyle. 4th best coaching performance this year.
And where the reason why I hesitate is in my head the order keeps moving around. Like I could have a different opinion,
of course,
of the ordering of this group, an hour from now after we've recorded it, and I'll just have to live with it, But like there are 3 teams that clearly deserve love. This one I would have had higher at one point, but they're trending back down, and I don't think it's this coach's fault. Robert Saleh needs to be in the conversation. You came in, you lost your what was supposed to be your patchwork franchise quarterback 4 snaps in. You beat the Bills, and still after all this time, you are still in the playoff picture. You did not trail off as many, such as I, predicted. And you're still in the hunt. Granted, you did just lose to the Bills. And who the Jets have this week? I think it's the Dolphins.
Yeah.
Okay.
Black Friday. Yep.
They can bounce back. I hate the Black Friday game for the NFL, by the way. That's a friggin' college day. I hate that.
Agreed with you 100%.
So
you already got us Thursday. What are you doing? You know what I mean?
But
anyway.
Yeah, I'll go Robert Saleh there.
No, I had to go another direction this one. I went Shane Steichen in Indy at 4. How are they 5-5? This team is okay. Fine. Well, I mean, they beat
I'm not saying it's a bad pick. I'm just saying their schedule.
They beat Baltimore in the process.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Well, now, granted, did the coach do that, or did Lamar Demetrius Jackson's receiver having a butt ton of drops have anything to do with it? I think it's the latter.
No, it is latter. And what did you say about earlier in the podcast about
exactly? I knew you were going to do that, and I'm glad you did. That makes you a good host. Shall we continue?
Again, the thing too, also like this was like, remember we talking about earlier about like the Cardinals being the 0-17 participant.
Yeah,
I had Colts as the bottom 3 team going into the year.
So did I.
They're 5-5 in the playoff race now currently. Yeah. And of course, and no one's really talking about it because it's just and lose a quarterback too, the quarterback Richardson.
Yeah, Uncle Rico in the building doing things. No, that's a great point.
So I gotta get stuck in some love here for his rookie year.
Well, and I'll say this: I had them winning 5 games. They've already surpassed that, so that should tell you everything.
They're there right now at 5. Yeah. So
yeah,
there you go.
Or they met that. Sorry. Yeah.
You're right. They should win another game at least the rest of the year, right? I mean, imagine.
Not
All right.
Either that or I'll look really smart.
Yeah, you really do. All right, 3.
So, sorry, I got distracted by the fact that there was a hand on your head.
Yes, the guys that's watching the show on YouTube, my son here, my kids home from school. By the way, Kyle, when you were growing up, you and I are the same age. When
We
when
never
you were
got a
growing,
full week. This is insane.
that's what I'm saying. We went
You
to
know
school
how I
on
knew where
Wednesday.
you're going exactly, by the way?
We went to school on Wednesday, and then we off for the weekend. We had a long weekend. Not a whole damn week.
Might have occasionally got Wednesday off later in the school career.
Yes. Never the whole week. Ever
the whole week.
Softies.
Thank your lucky stars, Logan. I'm not sure if you can hear me,
I
but
can hear you at all. Headphones are on.
no, I know you got your headphones on. That's the joke.
Logan, also, by the way, you're gonna pull my and break my charger here, buddy. Thank you. Relax. 3, go, Kyle.
Okay, hold on, recalibrating.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go. I put the Jets at 4.
Yeah, put a solid 4. Yeah.
Crap, I lost.
So 5, you had Sirianni. 4, you had Saleh.
I'm. There'll be days where I'll have this at 4 instead, but today I'm going Mike McDaniel.
Interesting.
Yeah, his struggle is being defense is one thing, but his side of the ball is mad awesome. Mm-hmm. I'll accept arguments for him going number 4 on the strength of the fact that they've only averaged 20.5 points in the past 2 games, but I don't want recency bias to throw everything off. This is a guy that has made a Miami team better, and for all the Tua hype that I'm listening to, we all know Tyreek Hill's the real answer. Am I crapping on Tua? No, I'm just saying I think he's a bit overrated, much like I did a young Russell Carrington Wilson.
Yeah. All right. I respect that pick actually though. 3 for me though is Kevin Stefanski in Cleveland.
You're too.
How that guy is 7-3 right now with the chaos with Deshaun Watson. And by the way, he's out for the year, but it wasn't like Watson was there every week. He missed a chunk of the year before he went out for the year.
Correct.
And this team is 7-3. It's insane to me. I don't get it. So Stefanski has got to be at least top 3 candidate for me. And he's there for me. And the reason I put it higher because these next 2 guys on my list are what they're doing is just amazing. 2 for you.
I'll be the judge of that, but you lead right into explaining exactly why I have Kevin Stefanski to stave off what you have. Now, granted, there's some fan bases that will be loyal to you no matter what. The Browns are among them. He does have that working for him.
Yep.
But no, listen. And by the way, I'm pretty sure I know the guy you're going to mention. But how hard is it to coach? Hey, TJ, go tackle the other guy. Yeah, I said it. Anyways, we'll see if my prediction's correct later on here as we go down the list. But yeah, Stefanski's clearly a number 2 for me. Ironically, the Browns coach is number 2. See what I did there?
Oh my God! What are you doing? God, good Lord! But even that, wow. No, number 2 for me is Man Campbell.
Oh God! Can I switch out McDaniel for Man Campbell? Yeah, he should be 3. I had that. I had that on my list yesterday. I completely forgot about it.
Take out Saleh.
No, I'm not taking out Saleh.
I know. No, the only reason. And by the way, he was number 1 on my list when I did my midseason awards.
This whole exchange, by the way, talks to your point of how open the race actually is. I don't know why you were correcting yourself, but yeah,
no, right.
I completely meant to have Man Campbell at 3. I screwed that up completely.
No, but the reason Dan Campbell was number 2 now, he was number 1 2 weeks ago because when I did my midseason awards, he was actually number 1.
Yeah.
But we've had some things happen in the last couple of weeks in the league that put this guy over the top. And plus, Dan Campbell also they were kind of already expected to win the division anyway. Too, what we're seeing is not surprising. It's kind of how they're doing it, and we're actually seeing it before our very eyes.
The best start, second best. No, they have
the best start since 1969,
1991.
Yeah. And so what they're doing is not necessarily total surprise because we thought the Lions would be good. I have a wild card, yes, the division winner. So we kind of knew that the Lions would come anyway. But it's the fact they actually are doing it and they're doing it with some relative ease. It's been.
I mean, I put him at winning the division at 9 wins, and I'm looking kind of pessimistic now. So that's why he's higher on my list than you.
Yeah. So 2 for me is Man and Campbell. I suspect.
Are you higher than me? That's right. I have him at 3. My bad.
Right. I suspect you don't have to say number 1.
So let me recap real quick because I did screw it up. At
Mhm.
5, I got Sirianni. 4
Correct.
is Salah. 3
Mhm.
is Madden Campbell. 2 is Stefanski.
So McDaniel's gone,
Yeah, McDaniel's on the outside looking in.
which is fine. I suspect you and I have the same number 1.
Okay. D'Amico Ryans.
Correct.
Rookie quarterback, injuries galore, and just took out Joey Burr before he was injured for the year.
6-4 in a playoff, and now the
And had
6th seed.
Had a team that withstood 3 interceptions by the quarterback. I know it's the Cardinals, but they still win the football game.
And now the 6th seed in the AFC playoff race currently.
A very fascinating game upcoming, by the way. The
That's
Texans
Browns?
hosting the Jags.
Oh, yeah. Which, by the way, the Texans win that game. I believe they're in first place AFC South.
That's correct. They have the tiebreak because of the sweep.
Yeah. Again, making even a stronger case for Coach of the Year and a
Reduced
stronger case.
opportunity to cover a damn playoff game.
And an opportunity also. That's true. We don't want that to happen, though. And a strong case for C.J. Stroud for MVP as well, too. But D'Amico Ryans has done a fantastic job, and I love to see it. I hate the fact that Texas got rewarded for this because remember last year when we left the year, we were so pissed at the way they handled the situation with Lovie Smith. But it is what it is.
Well, whole other question there, EJ Christian.
Yes, tell me about it. Okay, as we say this now, bring this up real quick. We are going to look at the current playoff standings in the NFL through 11 weeks. We are now entering week number 12. As this brings up real quick, give me one quick second. Pick the conference, Kyle. AFC, NFC first. Do you see that, sir?
We can open. I do now. We can open with the NFC. Why not?
All right, NFC, because we do these locks all the time now. Right now, currently the number 1 seed,
I don't
the Eagles.
do locks all the time. I make a lock when it's time to lock somebody, and then I'm right.
Well, Eagles 1, Lions 2, Niners 3. Look at the Lions number 2. Wow, what year are we in now, buddy? 4 Saints, 5 seeds the Cowboys, 6 seed Seahawks, 7 seed Vikings, and then the next closest team on this list here is the Packers as the 8th at 4-6. That's a game and a half behind. Got the Rams at 9.
But wait,
Falcons.
I thought the Fraud Cons were going to win the South.
Falcons at 10. 11 got the Buccaneers. Of course, the Commanders at 12, and then this number of trash between 13 and 16. Giants, Bears, Cardinals, Panthers.
Blah, blah.
We already said weeks ago, lock all 60, 70 teams up. I'm still there. I think we'll have a conversation about positioning. We can have that now.
Yeah, I'll say it's a little early for that for me to get in that conversation. They still have the week 11 matchups there too. I mean, like everybody did what they were supposed to do. I think the Niners will also lift themselves up, beating who they need to beat on Thursday night in the form of the Seahawks in Seattle. I think that'll be fine. The Saints have a very winnable game against the Fraud Cons. That should be interesting.
Here's the thing also too. I think at this point now the Saints are pretty much, I'm not going to say a runaway yet, but it looks like they're going to run to the South now because the Falcons are falling apart. Bucks are falling.
The Fraud Cons and the Bucks are both 4-6, while the Saints have
5.
So they're still only a game apart. So we shouldn't be going completely nuts.
Correct. Right.
So this game is close upcoming, but or rather, this race is still close upcoming with the Saints battling the Fraud Cons. So like, whatever. The sacrificial lamb in the NFC South. It is what it is.
I do think though, Kyle. I won't lock this situation here, but I feel pretty good with the Lions being a 2 seed for one reason. If the Niners somehow lose to the Eagles in a few weeks, that virtually locks the Lions into this 2 seed. Because the Lions' schedule is pretty cake rest of the way. It's pretty cake. You want me to bring it up for you real quick? You want me to bring it up?
No, I mean, you can if you'd like, but I'll put it this way. This late in the season, they still have another game against the Pack, if I remember correctly.
They do. They do.
That's quirky.
It's always quirky, yeah.
The NFC North is a quirky place, whereas I find the Niners to be far more reliable to battle and subdue an NFC West team.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's a factor that we don't want to overplay too much, right?
Right. So Detroit's remaining schedule here in front of me. I got it. Packers is Thursday on Thanksgiving. Saints The Bears, then Broncos, Vikings, Cowboys, the Vikings again. Actually, tougher than I thought. I
Yep.
think we were saying, well, because at the time the Vikings weren't good. Now all of a sudden
They're still not good, but
you know,
the NFC North physics and Josh Dobbs being a thing,
yeah,
it's worth talking about.
yeah. Again, I won't lock them up, but I think that Eagles Niners game is going to play a large part in Detroit's future because if the Niners lose that game to the Eagles, and Lions can do their job, they'll have a 2-game lead on San Francisco.
Yeah, well, and then all that could change on the health of Trent Williams as well. So there's that.
Yeah. He did play this weekend, didn't
he? He sure did.
Okay, here we go. So in terms of locks, honestly, dude, I don't see the Eagles falling apart here. I really don't. I don't. They do got a tough schedule moving forward, but they should take care of business. I mean, they just beat the champs last night.
We still got 7 games left. I'm not prepared to start locking seeds, but
no, I won't lock. I won't. To your point, the only thing, if it's anything, I'm more comfortable locking up the wild cards than the division winners. Honestly, Cowboys, Seahawks, Vikings. That's your 3. Boom, I'm good.
I think I've locked up 5 teams. I don't know that I locked up the Cowboys yet. I don't think I did. But
might as well.
I think I did. But I'm not sure about the Vikings yet. You're the one that's waving the Vikings flag. I'm just not there yet. I can't blow the horn yet.
I locked all 7 teams again into the postseason. What I did what it is is I said that if you're talking about positioning though, I'm more confident about the 3 wild cards.
I said I'm not there yet with 7 games left. I'm
not
start playing that game.
Right. So as I keep scrolling up and down this whole thing on the screen, guys, I apologize for you guys getting a little dizzy at this, but yeah, we're there. All right, AFC. So right now, as due to the loss last night of the Chiefs, the Ravens are currently have the bye week and now they start today at the number 1 seed.
Isn't even the biggest news, though. How do you not include Joey Burr as the biggest loss?
Oh, we're getting there. We're going to get there.
Of the week.
Okay, Logan, I can't see. You're in the way. Thank you, buddy. All right, 2 the Chiefs, 3 Jaguars, 4 Dolphins. That 2 through 4 situation is going to be pretty interesting going forward. Chiefs have beaten both Dolphins and Jaguars for the record. The Browns at 5, the 5 seed. 6 seed is the Texans, as I said earlier. 7 seed currently the Steelers. Is he on screen right now, buddy? Logan, on screen?
Yes, he's absolutely on screen.
Logan, you gotta go on the screen, buddy. We can't see anything. You know, I know, buddy. You look adorable. I get it. Here's what gets interesting now, though. The wild card is about to be a cluster, and the Bengals, obviously losing Joey Burrow for the year, that changes everything in the wild card situation. Currently, you have your 8 seed at the Bills, 9 seed Colts. All of a sudden, Rusty's back at the 10 seed, the Broncos.
Relax. Bengals
11, Raiders 12, Chargers falling off 13, Jets 14, and then of course 15, 16 the Patriots. Obviously, I ain't locking shit. Just put it away. Again, much like the wild card in the NFC, I feel better about. Here, I'll say this much though. I'm okay with locking the Dolphins as a division winner in the AFC East. I'm okay with that.
Mistake, but okay.
You think the Bills will surge?
I'm not prepared to rule it out.
Okay.
At this point, with the way things worked with the firing of the OC last week, I'm not here to say it's cured. I am here to say there's enough room for pause.
Here are my locks. I won't lock any seeds yet, but I'll lock the Chiefs of the AFC East, AFC West winner.
Did we do that weeks ago? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, sky's blue also, right?
So
I'm okay with the only reason I have apprehension on the Ravens
is because Lamar Demetrius Jackson's health.
Thank you. And of course, the Jaguars and Texans are going to battle out for the AFC South. We can't lock them anymore. Where are you on the Browns though? Are you ready to lock those wild card at least?
Oh God, that's tough. That's a no from me, dog. Yep. I'm impressed by what they're doing, but they still got a lot to do with 7 games left on the bleeding schedule, don't they? Like, there's a lot of there to still wrangle up. I just call me a hater if you'd like. I can't do it. And I get they got a relatively easy out. Mm-hmm. I say relatively, it's still losable, but they have a relatively easy out with the Denver Broncos. But they have games against the Jags, the Texans upcoming too. And honestly, if you like defensive football, Thursday night, week 17 against the Jets is a big fat hairy deal. So it's their schedule is sneaky difficult, but their lows are low and the difficulties are relatively difficult. Like the most difficult team on there might be Jacksonville or Houston. That's kind of a coin flip as to which one you think is tougher. I think Houston's a more difficult matchup for them.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'll have to think about that. Not to mention any elements of vengeance and emotion that could be going on with Deshaun Watson returning to town. That could be a thing. Yeah, that's all very complicated. And of course, even though Deshaun isn't playing anymore, I feel like that's still a factor. You know what I mean?
This is complicated for me too, also.
Yeah,
because go ahead.
No, I mean, and we don't know what to make of Cincinnati either as a divisional game, even though they don't have Joey Burrow. Blah 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 blah. So,
do you think? Well, I thought Browning played decent against Baltimore in that game. I mean, you ain't beat Baltimore on moment's notice, but I didn't think he was an atrocity when Burrow went down.
No. But also, a portion of a game is not enough film for me to evaluate.
Agreed. Absolutely. Without question.
Oh.
Here's the thing that's complicated for me about Buffalo. I feel good about the chances now getting the playoffs because they are the best team of the ones outside of the bubble, now on the bubble.
But so too.
And because the Bengals are also out now, well, we say that because, we're not being there. That's the assumption that opens the door for the Bills to grab one of these spots.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Is it their schedule is the issue? That's the thing we're worried about. It's the schedule.
No, we've said that often. And if there's a team they're going to pass, I feel like it would be the Browns.
Even more than the Steelers
even more than the Steelers, because while they win ugly, they still have Omar Epps, aka DJ Khaled, EJ Mike Tomlin. All he does is win, no matter what.
And they did fire Matt Canada today, finally.
Blame Canada. So that should all be interesting upcoming.
So if I'm going to lock anything up, obviously Chiefs, AFC West champs, yes. I'm okay with locking the Dolphins up as a 4th seed, personally. I know you're not. In terms of wild cards,
you can lock and unlock as every week goes because you jerk knees and all that other stuff. Me, no, I'm not there yet.
I won't lock any AFC wild card teams just yet, but I think I might be a week away from blocking Cleveland.
I mean,
if they win this week, you can lock them up.
That does put them another game up on Pittsburgh, I believe they play. So
sure do. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
and if Houston wins again this week too, also I could be trying to sit that way.
This weekend is going to make me look real stupid about locking the Jags.
I'll tell you what. If the Texans win that game, against the Jaguars, I'm locking them up as at least a wild card, at the very least a wild card.
I can see an argument for doing that now, even if you're so down on the Bills, but I digress.
Right. But the Bills might still get in over someone slipping on steel slip, whatever.
Probably, yeah. The Bills versus a third AFC North team is a good matchup.
This is when a 7th seed becomes wacky, and I know you hate it, obviously, and I have my issues with it too myself.
And rightly so.
Right. But this is where the 7th seed becomes a lot more clusterfuck because now if we're talking about 6 seeds here, the Bills are still probably not going to be in that thing, but we'll see. But yeah, that's the walk right now so far. And we'll keep doing this every week on the locks as we do every single time on this podcast this time of year, as we call this the pennant time of the season. One last NFL thing I want to get to before we get to some college talk. Tom Brady was on Stephen A. Smith's show yesterday. Not First Take, Stephen A.'s actual show that he does outside ESPN.
Podcast, if you will.
His podcast. His own thing, his own production company, the whole nine. And apparently Tom Brady has issues with today's NFL. Now, worth noting that Tom Brady only retired literally 8 months ago. That's what gets to me about this whole thing. So let me make sure I find this real quick here. I haven't queued up here the thing he said about his issues with today's. He calls it mediocre. Let me see what he had to say.
There's a lot of mediocrity. Yeah.
Let's see. It's playing it now. 1 second.
I think there's a lot of mediocrity in today's NFL. Yeah. I don't see the excellence.
The Boston Celtics.
Sorry about that, guys.
I think there's a lot of mediocrity in today's NFL. Yeah. I don't see the excellence that I saw in the past.
Why not?
Why not? I think the coaching isn't as good as it was. I don't think the development of young players is as good as it was. The rules have allowed a lot of bad habits to get into the actual performance of the game. Mm-hmm. So I just think the product, in my opinion, is less than what it's been. I look at a lot of players like Ray Lewis and Rodney Harrison and Ronnie Lott and guys that impacted the game in a certain way. And every hit they would have made would have been a penalty. You hear coaches complaining about their own player being tackled and not necessarily, why don't they talk to their player about how to protect himself? We used to work on the fundamentals of those things all the time. Now they're trying to be regulated all the time. Offensive players need to protect themselves. It's not up to a defensive player to protect the offensive player. A defensive player needs to protect himself. I didn't throw the ball to certain areas because I was afraid players were going to get knocked out. That's the reality. Wow. I didn't throw it to the middle when I played Ray Lewis because you knock him out of the game, and I couldn't afford to lose a good player. I think there's a lot of.
Well, that's actually interesting. All right, hold on. All right, hold on. Not real quick. All right, so my son's getting a little aggravated here. So that's you hear me?
Yeah, I got you.
Okay. With context, he makes some sense there. It just sounds kind of weird that he's saying this after he leaves the NFL.
With context, he makes sense. Let me tell you why that's ridiculous, and you're still obviously a Tom Brady homer.
Well, that'll never change for the record.
All this is some Gran Torino, Clint Eastwood, get off my lawn trash. I said it. Oh, it's better coaching. Dude, offensive players need to learn to protect themselves. You literally had one of the best assemblies of men specifically brought in to protect your goofy butt. Okay? I want to hear about you griping about guys not knowing how to protect themselves. By the way, and the point he does make is there are guys over the middle that used to make you, that could potentially end your career. There's no middle ground on that.
Stop.
And part of the reason those rules are there is him. You've heard of the Tom Brady rule.
Mm-hmm.
What are we talking about? You're going to blame the coaches. You're part of the problem. Okay.
To your point, I think the optics are bad.
You're also the reason that no one can sack a quarterback.
Well, him and Peyton Manning both. Yeah. Well, yeah. To your point.
I don't remember Peyton Manning being that big a factor.
Both protected. Both got protected, of course.
The head helmet thing might be linked to Peyton Manning, but there's no Manning rule out there. I know that trash. Okay?
Yeah.
So let's not go all crazy on that. What I'm trying to get at is this, my friend. How can you, by the way, as a side note, the real problem, in my opinion, is linked to coaching, but not the way you might think, EJ Christian. I think it's about offensive line development going slower. There's less time to practice. There's less time to get in pads and hit. And if you want to call that bad coaching or mediocre coaching, fine. I think there is a coaching handicap because that stuff happens.
The face is opposite.
Yeah. I do think that the optics are bad because of who's saying the thing that benefited off the thing. To your point, I do like that he had some context with it. Was that
the thing that benefited off the thing?
Yeah, exactly. No, so it's I won't say it's a bad look. It's just a bad optics more than anything else. But
what the hell's the difference?
It's Tom Brady. These are the ones.
Optics is a fancy word for a look.
Acknowledge him, buddy. Greatest of all time. GOAT. Acknowledge him.
Stop. He is not my tribal chief.
Okay, Joseph Cliff from Montana. I get it. All right. Let's get some college real quick. We got 2 more minutes to get out of here. What's up, Logan? What do you want to say? After the segment, you have to come on the camera. Okay. This week, we'll have the new rankings this week. This week tonight, actually at 7:00.
Allegedly.
How should it look?
At this point, how should it look? Welcome to the top 4, Washington, but we've been saying that for weeks. Mm-hmm. I'm still not prepared to rule it out because watch the head of the committee pull the Carnell Jones defense from when Ohio State won the first ever CFP with a backup quarterback. I think, I feel like Michigan is going to get punished for playing Maryland close.
And should they?
No. I feel like Ohio State will be 2, and it won't matter who's 2 or 3.
Yeah, they're playing this week anyway, so it doesn't matter.
That'll be the justification, is that'll shake out. And Georgia, I think, retains number 1.
Yeah, Georgia should be number 1. Georgia's surging at this point now. Georgia is actually earning number 1 in a way where
FSU should drop to 6, but I don't think that'll happen.
No, I don't think it should drop to 6 either. I do agree Oregon is better. I do agree Alabama's better probably. And you can make a case of Texas being better than Florida State overall. But Florida State's unbeaten, and obviously,
these are rankings.
What's going to impact Florida State getting down to 5 tonight, which I think was going to happen, and Florida State fans get mad when I said this, so I'm saying anyway, is the fact that you have a combination of Washington playing a fantastic schedule, where like they've gotten through the gauntlet of games.
Oregon State is another ranked team, they
right. And then you have at the same time you have the Jordan Travis injury. God bless him for the record. I hope he recovers well with that one. That was fun to watch.
That stuff is up there. The two names I heard evoked with it, depending on how old you were. One of them was Joe Theismann. The other was Mackenzie Milton.
Right.
Nonetheless, both absolutely horrific in their own right.
Here's my fear. It says a Knowles fan, obviously. I told the Knowles fans, other Knowles fans on social media, this also too. That's gonna have to happen.
Okay, Noller.
To avoid the conflict of them having to take a one-loss team over Florida State on Selection Sunday. Florida State not only now has to win out now. They got to win out against Florida and Louisville. No, not only that. Now at a pressure now winning out and doing it in a way where the committee can't ignore you. So they have to blow out Florida this week, and they got to blow out Louisville in the AC title game next week.
Is that possible for them to blow them out?
I don't know.
I don't know. And the only reason it's in play, to your point, is Louisville. Louisville is completely overrated. They're not a top team. They've never.
No one disagrees with that.
Yeah, apparently the committee does.
You and I don't disagree with that. They're not as good as advertised, but they also are top 10 in the country. That's going to help Florida State's chances.
This is Notre Dame's fault for blowing that game, frankly.
Correct. But the Louisville thing is going to be the one thing in the back pocket of Florida State that have a case for them if they were to beat Louisville in the way they should.
Well, and the other thing that hurts Louisville is, let's say they win the ACC championship game, their prowess is lessened because Florida State is weakened.
Yeah. Florida State is rooting for Georgia to win out. Florida State is rooting for a Michigan-Ohio State blowout. Okay? Because if Alabama gets into the conversation now,
have to clear Bama, Texas, Oregon, and Washington.
Right. My thing is, though, if Alabama beats Georgia in the SEC title game, that puts Georgia now as a conversation now into the top 4 still. So that's what I'm saying. It's going to be one of those things where, buddy, you need to start grabbing my shirt, buddy. Okay.
A one-loss Georgia is making the playoff. It's not close.
Exactly. So if you're Florida State, you are a Georgia fan in the next 2 weeks. Bottom line. So, because if Bama loses second game, they're gone.
Actually, I would say this. If you're Florida State, the teams you are a fan of are as follows. Georgia's in either way.
Right, but you don't want Alabama to enter the conversation, I'm saying.
Right. Yeah, exactly. You need to pray they don't get any positive vibes on Texas. Right? Then also
that only happens though with with Alabama winning out though.
Not necessarily.
Because Bama and Texas will help Texas' case.
Not necessarily.
You don't think so? Bama being because remember Texas beat Bama earlier.
Hear me the bleep out, Ernest.
Okay, but go right ahead, buddy. I'm getting murdered here by my son. There's no life here.
Yeah, you'd think it'd be an opportunity to set up for 30 seconds to get him right as he piggybacks you like as if he's practicing WWE. But is he stabbing you with a fake sword? My God. Anyways, a pair of fake swords. My God. Anyways, apparently
it's my kids, man.
Show up in this beast here with Earnestly Christian.
Well, we do what we gotta do. We gotta get a report in, right? Now or never.
At any rate, no. So they're cheering for whoever wins the upcoming game, and I believe it's Ann Arbor now.
It's Ann Arbor on Saturday, yeah.
That whoever wins that wins again in the conference. Wins the conference.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I shouldn't say wins again, but wins the conference.
Pretty much.
To keep any of that conversation of, well, the second Big Ten team needs to be outright eliminated. You're cheering for Washington. I said it. You're cheering for Washington to win out, including the Oregon rematch. So a 2-loss Oregon is out of the play. Just like a 2-loss Bama. And you still need to make sure the committee doesn't take pity on Texas. All of that needs to go your way.
I will say this much, though. Texas lost to Oklahoma looks worse and worse now as the year goes on. I will say that much.
The committee hasn't voted that way.
Well,
They stayed in that spot since the first week.
that's true. Number
And
7,
moving
right?
Oklahoma State all throughout the bottom 15 and below,
Mm-hmm.
no one cares about what Oklahoma and Oklahoma State have done. No one cares. Oh, in the words of Deion Sanders, Noler, ain't nobody care.
Noler.
Who care? Ain't nobody care. All right.
All right. So who wins tonight? Oh no, who wins on Saturday? Ann Arbor, the big one. Ohio State, Michigan.
The Magic game is until tomorrow.
Sorry, no.
It's hard,
Sorry.
It's hard to bet against Michigan, right? And I'm glad you brought that up because really, I find it fascinating that J.J. McCarthy is an alleged Heisman Trophy candidate, but he's really the only player on this team that can lose it for this damn team. The only reason that game's close is because J.J. McCarthy turned the ball over. Like, everybody understands that, right?
Right.
Can we stop with that silliness with the Heisman Trophy? Stop stealing from Michael Penix and do your jobs. Stop stealing from Marvin Harrison while we're on the topic.
Stop stealing from Jan Daniels at this point.
Stop it.
He's been awesome this year.
Jalen, stop it.
He's been really good this year, though. Even though the team stinks, but that's here or there. All right. So anyway, plug away, buddy. Oh, well, before we get out of here,
yes.
What are you most thankful for?
That my kid isn't crawling on my back while I'm in the middle of a show.
I love my kids to death, man. Right now, this one here is annoying.
I am completely thankful that week in and week out, despite whatever technical issues, whatever things he's got going on as his day job as an FBI agent in a van trying to chase down perpetrators.
Yes.
Whatever he does, he finds time for me, Kyle Nash, the student of the game, to do my report on the Earnestly podcast.
You're darn right. Plug away, brother.
Honor, joy, and privilege to continue to do it once again. Of course, I am Kyle Nash, the student of the game. You can find me on Twitter at the SOTG. Find me on Instagram and Threads as the same, the SOTG. Check out my Facebook page as the student of the game. Check out my writings with Jaguar Report of SI and Fan Nation, or Fan Nation SI, whatever, you get it. I explain what it is that the Jaguars tightened up against Tennessee to look better next week.
Oh.
By the way, shouts to John Shipley for leaving the pun in the headline.
Yeah.
And of course, my work with the 3-point conversion. Go to their YouTube page. Check out some of my locker room interviews that I got from there as well at Everbank Stadium this past week. And of course, my work with the Duval Dive. I have to open with that, talking Jaguars with my guy, Travis Holmes. Weekly, you'll see on the Student of the Game podcasts, as well as the various offerings that I've mentioned there too, as well as the Sertoba Media and Huddle Up YouTube channels that we'll be doing the Duval Dive to talk about last week and then the current upcoming game as well. So check that out. Also, my writings and podcasting with the Black and Gold Banneret with the Night Shift podcast as well. Every week I do night class for UCF football and also been writing some UCF basketball, both men's and women's. So check that out, the Black and Gold Banneret. My work with A7B in sports as well, covering the Orlando Magic.
They're good, man. They won last night. They're really good.
They beat the Bucks earlier in the year.
They beat the Pacers last night too.
Oh, yeah, what they did in Chicago is a little confusing, but yeah.
Don't worry about that. The Heat lost to the Bulls on Saturday and they beat them last night, so whatever. Bulls are weird.
Yeah, I mean, credit to Zach LaVine. I get it. You know,
Vucevic, he'll be out there soon.
You know, I mean, Vucevic is a good low man. I get why they trade him. It is what it is.
It is what it is.
He's not Bam Adebayo. I get it there, Heat fan.
Yeah,
Bam
looks great this year. I'll tell you that much.
Bam was great in the finals. It's too bad Himmy disappeared. Anyways,
That's what it is.
Said it.
You did say it.
And then, of course, yeah, actually, no, the Orlando Magic was A7B in sports.
Huddle Up podcast tonight, 8 o'clock, 8:30 tonight.
Podcast
tomorrow. Yeah, tonight.
Most importantly, the Student of the Game podcast.
That's right. Hey, by the way, for the record,
Wednesday.
Awesome episode last night.
No,
awesome.
I'm going to prop this because it's one of your favorite guests. Student of the Game podcast will feature Matt Murschel of the Orlando Sentinel.
Mm-hmm.
So that'll be fun talking college ball. I'll be at 2 places at once. It'll be great. Ernest Christian.
By the way, last week's episode, this you, awesome. Just saying.
I appreciate it, brother. But listen, in the meantime, I've already been among the first to wish you happy Thanksgiving. So until next time, my friends, class dismissed.